Okay, so we're all going to offer up an album again, right?
Yes. From
I'll
Marcia
start
to Miss Ray.
first. I'll start first again. For the love of God, please pick Ween and the album Quebec. I've listened to this, more times than last week, and it's just a fantastic album. There's some really impressive guitar solos on this, Glen, and there's some
Glen,
ballads.
he's directing it right at me.
Glen, this is just so impressive. The first song is almost like a Motorhead song. It's really heavy, but that's not what the rest of the album is like. It's just.
What year is that from?
I don't know. The 2000s or
Okay.
just a few years back. It's not that long ago.
Where's Ween from? Are they a U.S. band?
Yeah, 2003.
I think
So
they're
20
from
years ago.
Pennsylvania because they started out as teenagers.
Yeah, it's like two guys.
No, they started out as babies. Then they,
Well, I mean, the band started out when they were teenagers because I know they started calling each other Dean Ween and Gene
Yeah.
Ween when they were
Yeah.
teenagers.
Larry, is the song "Freedom of '76" on that record?
No.
Okay, that's the Ween song I know, and I like it.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah. But really good vocals. There's some kind of Zappa-ish stuff too, but it's.
There you go. That's the key word for
Trying
Glen,
to
isn't
spell
it?
Glen there. Yep.
he's selling it.
He's got a
I'm
new
gonna
Zappa
put this
box
out
set
there.
to listen to. He doesn't need Ween.
I'm going to put this out there, but if any of you choose to listen to the Ween album and review it, there's a $10 Amazon gift certificate.
No, if somebody else listens to it, they can also try and sell it to Glen because it's a fantastic. It's one of the best. It would be in my top 50 albums of all time. It's that good.
Yeah, but so's Come On to My House.
Yes.
And Lou Reed.
Yeah. So I'm done. Chris, you're next.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Now I picked this record under the guise of I wasn't sure if anybody was allowed to pick my record except for Marcia, since you all picked it last week. So just I kind of had that in my head. But by all means, it's a very pop sounding record. But the musicianship on this record is really, really good. And I'm not just trying to throw the Zappa buzzword out there for Glen, but every single person in this band was in a Zappa band before this.
Oh.
All of them, including the vocalist. Now, I'm sure you've heard some of the singles, but the entire album, it's Missing Persons.
Oh.
And the album is Spring Session M. The drums, for example, on some of these songs like No Way Out and US Drag and Rock and Roll Suspension, it's Terry Bozzio.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just off the charts good. And the whole band is a really tight, good band. Now, it is kind of a new wave, kind of a post-punk record. And I know that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but from beginning to end, this is a good record. So I would put that one out there this week.
And they had some success too.
I'm sorry now?
They had some success too.
Yeah, Walking in LA was a big hit. Destination Unknown was a big hit.
Yeah.
And those are both on this record.
Who else is on the album besides Terry Bozzio, Chris?
His wife, Dale Bozzio, Patrick O'Hearn is on this. Warren Cucurullo is on this. Yeah. You know, all of them played in Zappa.
Yeah.
Zappa's band.
Interesting.
Yes, and Warren went on to play with Duran Duran.
Yeah, he played in Duran Duran for many years.
Marcia would know that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did I do? I picked an ex-Zappa band that I thought would fall into Marcia's wheelhouse with a member moving into Duran Duran.
Interesting pick.
The wheels are turning over here, I promise.
Yeah. Interesting pick.
Okay. Glenn, you're next.
I'm next. I'm going with what I consider a classic. It came out in 1970. I'm hoping that some of you haven't heard it. I know Larry's has, but I'm going with Spirit's 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus. This album is what did I write down here? It's a mix of pop, bit of soul because there's some horns come into it, a tiny bit of psych, but very little. Nothing that would scare you if you're not a fan of psych music. Great vocals, fantastic harmonies, kind of dreamy. It's kind of a conceptual album in a way because it discusses a lot of environmental concerns. It's Nature's Way is one song and things like that. It's great. Just a really solid album that all the songs kind of flow into each other. And one of my top probably 15 albums of all time. So Spirit, 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus.
Marcia?
Oh, okay. So this week's album, I am bringing it to the show because Glenn told me to. And it is Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. And
What did you say?
it's Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf.
Okay.
That
That was a joke, by the way.
Pardon?
That was a joke, by the way.
Oh,
I just got it. I'm slow.
it's still early Sunday morning, so you'll have to give me some grace.
Okay.
I mean, it took me a little bit of time to even read my notes. So on the live stream that we did a couple of weeks ago with Steve, Chris had brought up the fact that Queens of the Stone Ages was a band that took him a while to get into in terms of he didn't really discover them until later. And so him and I were talking about Queens of the Stone Age, and Glenn put in the notes, bring it to the album exchange. So Glenn, don't ever say I don't listen to you. And I listened to a couple of their albums this week, and this is by far the best. And last week I said that the Eddie Vedder CD was my favorite CD of the 2000s, but no, it's this, for God's sake.
Really?
So incredibly good. I probably haven't listened to it in 15 years, and it's 50 times better than I even remember. I probably listened to this thing 20 times this week. It's just it is so good. If you like riffy guitars, you got to check this one out. And this is 50 minutes long, and it doesn't feel like it. It's from 2002, by the way.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, Steve.
That means I'm up. Hey, Marcia, your book, The 1001. Mine's 2004. What do you know what copyright yours is?
Mine is 2005, which means that I think the albums end at 2004. I've got the same cover.
Okay. My album is from 2005, and I didn't realize it until today. It actually makes that book, but it does it in a future print. It's not in this one. It's probably not in yours either. So that is Richard Hawley, Cole's Corner. There was a great line in one of the reviews I read. It said, he resides deep inside his material. And that is, to me, a perfect way to sum this up. I cannot put into words what this guy wrote, so I'm going to give you just an idea here. Cole's Corner is glorious, magical, and utterly lovely in its vision, articulation, and execution. Cole's Corner heads full bore into the vintage sounds of 5 decades ago. It takes a certain flair for a modern-day artist to pull off such a retro sound, and Hawley's complete lack of irony and bombast on this record makes it work. I have everything he's done. Me and my wife, we got lucky enough. We saw him about, maybe 10, 12 years ago. He's from Sheffield, England, and that's this Cole's Corner. It's actually a meeting place for lovers. And so he's here standing with flowers. So I'm assuming he's been stood up.
That is an awesome cover.
Oh, it's just a great album. If you listen to it, you'll be like, I can't picture Steve liking this, but for me, it was my number 2 album of 2005, only beaten out by Porcupine Tree's Dead Wing. But they're 2 completely different style albums. He's worked with a lot of people, Nancy Sinatra, Lisa Marie Presley, Arctic Monkeys. He's a fantastic guitarist. And if you get a chance, check out any of his live stuff on YouTube. He is just great. So that is what I am presenting.
Wow, some interesting choices.
Steve and Chris, if you want to remain my friend, just remind me. Anyway, I'll go first. We'll go around. I think
Okay.
I'm gonna. I will say Glen's choice, Spirit. I highly recommend it to it. It is a superb album. I own it myself. But I'm going to go with Steve. And is it Richard Haley or
Richard Hawley,
Hawley. Okay, Richard Hawley.
Hawley.
Yeah, because I've heard of him, but I've never heard his music. So I'm interested. So that's my choice.
Okay.
Chris.
All right. I'm not doing this because I feel pressure. I'm doing this because I've been listening to or watching Larry's show for a very long time. And generally, I agree with most, if not all, of the musical direction that he takes. I like Sparks and I like Lou Reed and I like, so I'm not afraid of, and I've heard only that one song, so I have a little bit of a familiarity with it.
Yeah.
I will take Quebec.
Okay, cool. Okay. Glen.
Oh, you know what, Larry? I was actually, before Chris took Quebec, I was actually going to take it just to kind of go.
You're going to make me cry if you take it. Glenn.
Friendship that I got to go with it. But
yeah, you got to trust me, Glenn.
Taking it, I'm going to wait and see what Chris has to say.
Yeah.
And now I'm really interested in. Well, you took Richard Hawley, so I think I'm going to leave that one. So it's Queens of the Stone Age or Missing Persons. I've already taken Chris's, so I can't take Missing Persons. So I guess I'm doing Queens of the Stone Age.
Good, because I brought it just because you told me to.
Oh, if I could jump in, I have the Spirit record. It's excellent. I know it so well. It wouldn't have been fair for me to pick that one.
All right, Steve.
Or it's Marcia, right? Or is it me?
I can go. Marcia, yep. Marcia first.
I'm going to take the Ween album.
Thank you.
Because I have the Missing Persons. Mm-hmm. And so, Chris, you did get it right. And Glenn, I have listened to Spirit, and I'll just leave it at that. So, Ween it is.
Okay. You didn't mention anything about my pick. Are you just saying you don't trust my taste in music?
I chose your pick last week.
The Explorers Club.
I chose your pick last week.
Okay. All right. Well, a couple things here. One, Chris and Glenn, thank you for taking a bullet for the rest of us. And I am going to recuse myself on Missing Persons because I saw them on that tour. Actually, they toured with Pat Benatar, so I know the album. I used to have the album, and I've had Spirit, 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus forever, so I'm very familiar with that album. So by default, I am taking Marcia's pick, Queens of the Stone Age. But I have wanted to hear them. Like that came out, like 2002, you said?
This is 2002. And I will say, Larry, Dean Ween guest stars on this album.
No way.
Yes. And also, Glenn, you can't change your mind, but Dave Grohl is the drummer.
It's pretty hard to pick anything that doesn't have Dave. He's everywhere. So,
but he's fantastic on this.
Actually, Lynn's upstairs making eggs, and I'm pretty sure Dave Grohl will show up.
Okay.
So I think that's about it, is it?
Oh, I'm not getting any pics. Okay.
Oh,
The pendulum swings. You look.
I'm
Think
going
of
to use
last week
that.
and this
Yeah,
week.
next week I'm coming up with like Sergeant Pepper or something like Chris did last week.
I was worried my pick was going to be too mainstream, but I was still like, I gotta listen to Glen.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why I've never heard that album. I mean, it's one I've always wanted to check out, but that's the great thing about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just so many bands out there that I've been wanting to check out for years and years and years, but for whatever reason, whenever I've got something of theirs in my hand, there's some other shiny object that is drawing my attention and I put it down,
Yeah.
Okay.
Glenn, any final words?
No.
Why don't you bring a good album to the?
I think that's what I need to do. I got to start doing good
Like
album.
two of us, at least two of us, have heard that Spirit album. Joss?
I've actually rated the Spirit album because it's in the 1001 albums book.
Yeah.
So I can read you my review of it next week, but I'm not sure you'd want to continue to be my friend if I read it to you.
Wow.
Well, you brought a good album, Glenn. It's just that I'm already very intimate with it. I've
Keep
listened
in
to
mind,
it,
it's
for
not. We
50
don't have to
years.
be bringing albums that no one's heard before.
That's right. Yeah, I was.
That you want someone to.
That's
give their
true.
thoughts
Yeah.
on.
No, I haven't actually played that in a while, and I was thinking of picking it seriously. So yeah.
Yeah, if Explorers Club was put back in at this time, that would have been a contender for me.
Okay.
So if we do bring albums back, like that's not a bad idea either.
Well, we know Marcia won't be bringing back Explorers Club.
Now, what if
Steve,
we did
6 is
what-
good. Most of my albums will probably fall between 6 and 7, to be honest with you.
Wow, you do grade tough, man.
Yeah, well, because my biggest criteria is it's got to have a good opener and a good closer. And if it doesn't have a good opener and closer, I think it really bothers me.
So your
I
favorite,
can't get over it.
your favorite Duran album, what does that get as a score?
Oh, you've got a point there because, yeah, you do have a point.
Well, Rio opens with Rio and it closes with the Chauffeur, right?
I know, and I don't like the Chauffeur at all.
Oh, okay.
However, I have heard an acoustical version of the Chauffeur, and I think it's great. But I really only like the first 2 Duran albums. The 7 and the Ragged Tiger it's not good, and then the one after that is not good. So I don't own anything past them, and I don't like the Wedding album, which Warren Kookalara is on. I had that, but I don't care for it.
I just checked my spreadsheet, Glenn. I listened to 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus twice in July. So
Wow.
It must have been in my car because I listened to it on July 10th and then July 17th.
That's awesome that you have that on a spreadsheet. No,
My
He
wife
is the
no
master.
sarcasm whatsoever. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He is the master of the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. I want to throw something out there. So Marcia last week presents the Explorers Club, or who did the Explorers Club?
Steve.
I presented it. Marcia selected it.
So now say 2 of you put out albums that I really want to hear, both of them really bad, but I can only choose one. Then somebody chooses it, it kind of disappears, and I don't get to pick it. So is there any way we can do it where I could say, well, I didn't like Marcia presented this week, but I really want to hear that 80 veteran. I choose a past album that someone put forward.
But what we could maybe do starting next week is have 2 albums to listen to. I'd be fine with that. There's enough time in the week.
Yeah, but what, like for instance, that Eddie Vedder album, at some point I'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did
And
listen
review
to
it, but now it's gone because someone's already done it.
So Larry put up the link for the Dark album, and I listened to about half of it. So I then turned it off because I did not care for the vocals.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't care. It's just I was just throwing it out there. If I could choose a previous album that someone put forward.
Yeah, that's an idea that we could possibly do starting next week, right? Do all of us have enough time seriously to listen to 2 albums a week? I do.
I'll be at my parents' the later
Yeah.
half of this week, so trust me, I'll have time.
I can
Well,
make
we could even do it this week. Choose another album. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, do you want to put it on pause?
Sure.
I can grab something.
Or
I'll listen to your to Marcia. I'll listen to your album too. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got a column here.
I'll have a lot of editing to do with this video. But Chris, you can also choose. You chose Ween. You can choose one more album.
Okay, can it be Explorers Club?
Sure.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Glenn, you can choose Eddie Vedder, right? How's that?
I will choose Eddie Vedder.
And then Steve, you have one more choice, and Marcia has one more choice.
Marcia, what was the Eddie Vedder album called again? The title?
Into the Wild.
Now, my second one here has to be what was presented this week is what I'm choosing, right?
Or last week.
Or last week's.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna listen to Ween, Larry, and get it off the docket here.
You're
Okay,
going
now-
in with the right attitude.
Now, well, also keep in mind now I've chosen 2 Marcia albums,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to
Yeah.
get rid of the rule that you can only choose one album and they're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just making this up as we go along. We should have it all sorted out by next year.
It's only 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm gonna pick Steve's Richard Howley.
Yep.
Can you give me the title of that again?
Cole's Corner, Coles Corner, and his last name is Hawley. He was also a member of the Britpop band Pulp for a while.
Oh, okay.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good friends with Jarvis Cocker.
So I listened to Electric like 2 weeks ago. That's
that's
in the
great.
1001 albums book.
Hmm.
That is it is a good rock and roll record. And it's like AC/DC in that it doesn't make you think, it doesn't make you want to do
Exactly.
anything but rock out. And
Yeah.
that's, to me, there is so much value in that where I don't have to think about something. It just brings a good time.
Yeah. If you need to get from point A to point B fast, that's a good record to have on.
Thank you.
see you all next week. Please remember to leave a comment below and subscribe to everybody here. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.